Hey everybody, Dawn Zoldi here. Welcome back to your Dawn of Drones podcast. I'm so excited to end this month. I can't believe we're ending the month of August already with an incredible individual, a wonderful organization, and a Volatus Above and Beyond guest today. So we've got with us here Dr. LaQuata Sumter. She is the CEO of Focusing on Me and Steam Through Drones. We're going to talk about both organizations, and it is so wonderful to have you on the show today, LaQuata.
Thank you for the opportunity, Don.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is a Volatus Above and Beyond series. Volatus has graciously sponsored a whole host of organizations and companies across this entire year. And LaQuata's presence wouldn't be possible without them. So thank you, Volatus, and of course, Unmanned Safety Institute or USI for sponsoring this month dedicated to building program success. And when we think about building program success for this industry, we cannot have a successful industry without an inspired, a prepared future workforce. And that's what LaQuata has really made her mission statement and dedicated her organizations to. So thank you for everything you do, LaQuata. And for those that don't know, she's an icon in the industry at this point, but there might be a handful of people out there listening that don't know you yet. So can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Dr. LaQuata Sumter. I have a doctorate from the University of North Texas. Finished about a year ago. Woohoo! Finished dissertation. My research was basically on the acceptance of technology and the online environment. So I spend a lot of time on actually researching people's acceptance of technology. And so that goes into drones as well as teaching our children about drone technology. But I've spent about 20 years in the IT field, from teaching electrical and computer engineering to computer information systems as well. But I spent a lot of my time trying to encourage others to get into the industry and help them get the roadmap about how to get into IT as well as engineering.
Well, and you've been teaching actually beyond your organizations we're going to talk about here momentarily. You've been teaching at a whole host of different universities and technical colleges. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yes, I started teaching out at Albany Technical College and Computer Information Systems, and then transitioned to a full professor at DeVry University in the College of Engineering. So that's where I spend a lot of my time now, in the College of Engineering at DeVry University.
Well, awesome. And for those out there that aren't in academia, PhD is a huge deal. So, congratulations again on that. You've taken your passion for technology, your experience in education, and combined them into these two organizations. So, let's first talk about Focusing on Me, which I think is that your 501c3 nonprofit?
That is the nonprofit. Focusing on Me was originally developed or thought about or transformed or came about in fall of 2017, and it was at a moment where I was sitting in my office and I was like, what am I doing? It just seems like everything was all over the place, and I was like, focusing on me. I need to focus on me, because I was out there helping everybody else, but there was no focus on me. And I was like, I wonder how many people actually work with everybody else, save everybody else, give out to everybody else, but don't take the time to focus on themselves. So focusing on me came about from that moment, and I developed shirts that focusing on me, giving that momentum. It's a movement of focusing on me. So I've had great experiences with helping individuals focus on themselves. But under the umbrella of focusing on me, it also includes education It also includes career advancement. It includes financial wealth. It includes health as well. So in the education arena is where I found the STEAM through Drones umbrella. And the STEAM through Drones umbrella was where I found that we could teach the next generation of next generations of engineers, technologists, scientists. We could teach them about the drone industry through stuff that they already use and stuff that they already know about.
Well, first of all, I got to say, I love what you're doing. I love the holistic approach. And Kay Cruz out there is agreeing, one of our super fans, great observations. I love that you've included kind of nutrition and this idea of wellness as part of your mission, is because so many people, including people like us, LaQuata, right? They get focused on their career or what it is they're doing, and what's the thing you put last? It's yourself, and
It's,
especially your health. And
yep,
so that's amazing. But so STEAM through drones, and now I probably most people know what STEAM is, but I'm an acronym. I focus on acronyms a lot because being former military, I'm highly sensitized to that. Can you explain what STEAM is for those that might not know that particular acronym?
definitely. The science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And some take the A and make it aviation now. I've been seeing the A used as aviation in STEAM as well. But in our STEAM, it's arts. So accumulating all of the science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics and doing those things, teaching those things or those concepts through drones.
Well, and so you talked about your inspiration for this, and STEAM through drones is a big part of that educational effort. You're targeting a very specific group with that effort. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, my target group is rural area students, students who may not see drone education or see someone that looks like them in the field, or even think about the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math field. A lot of the students in the rural areas, they hear about STEM and they hear about STEAM, and there is a lot of funding being tunneled into different areas, but we still have schools and organizations that don't have the funding or don't have the knowledge of how to encourage students to get into the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yeah, we've got Latoya Dent out there, by the way, hashtag focusing on me with a little heart. So, hey, Latoya, thanks so much for that love and support. No, absolutely. They're exposing the kids, and look, you and I talk about this all the time. We're both active in Women in Drones. I think that's actually how you and I met initially. And something Sharon Rossmark says all the time that I love, if you can see me, you can be me.
Be me. Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's a big part of what you do is putting yourself out there, not just on a show like this, but on a daily basis through your workshops, through the camps that you participate in and whatnot, to be that presence for kids to inspire them.
Definitely, representation counts.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, let's talk about the different programs and the ages and how you do what you do primarily with STEAM through drones. So let's first talk about kind of the demographic. You said the rural area are kind of the kids you're trying to target. But what kind of age groups do you work with?
Well, I started when I first started this thing out. I started out with second and third graders as well, and tried working with them in summer camps or after school programs. So I've learned the different age groups and what we can introduce to the different age groups. So we can start with our grade second and on up. But it's just the different programs that we offer to the different age groups. So I'm anywhere in the K through 12. I focus a lot of my attention in the K through 8 so that we are exposing them at an early age.
No, I think that's great because there's a lot of amazing programs. I mean, USI is a great example, right? Where they're focusing more on those kind of a little bit middle school, but high school, college age for sure. even those transitioning careers, military veterans that are looking for that next move, etc. I think exposing kids to this technology when they're super young is really key to inspiring the workforce that we need. So that's got to be hard because do you ever meet Megan Salter?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so Megan was a Woman to Watch award recipient when I received my award in 2019. And she was one of the first people I ever met that was doing this K through 8 curriculum. And she's out of West Virginia. I think you're in South Carolina, is that right?
I'm in Georgia and from South Carolina.
Okay, you're from South Carolina, you're physically in Georgia.
Mhm.
She's in West Virginia, again, focused on the rural, kind of children. How hard was it for you to find or create curriculum for that age group?
Well, getting started, it was very difficult because when we got started, I got started back in 2018, 2019, with the summer camps, and at that point, it was like, okay, there is nothing out here. When I've been teaching electrical and computer engineering and computer information systems, and typically you can find books, you can find lesson plans that are already done, you can find all these different things that you can, fix or make comfortable for your students. And there was really nothing out there for the age groups of K through 12. So I started with developing my own curriculum with using PVC pipes, the introduction, giving them an introduction to computers, the safety, all those different wide range of curriculums. And then I finally narrowed it and said, okay, we're going to start with just the basics. What is a drone? How drones work? Safety and how to fly. That's what we started with. So we started with that and started building. But then there are some others that continue to get into the industry and started developing curriculum, and we'll get into those curriculums as well.
Yeah, so we have a picture up right now. I remember in Clubhouse. And by the way, everybody, if you missed LaQuata's Clubhouse with Maggie Schuster last Thursday, go back and listen to that on demand. Absolutely amazing show. I know you talked about, when you design these things, and when students or when teachers come to you, when parents come to you, you have a series of questions you ask them. And I look at this picture with kids tinkering around with electronics. What are some of those things that you think about when you design a program uh, for students? Whether it's working with teachers or working, with camp groups or other organizations.
Well, some of the one of the main questions that I start with is, what is the primary goal of the drone education program? Are we looking at career preparation, hobbyist, STEM education? What specific skills or knowledge would we like our participants to gain from the program? And then who's the target audience? Because we talked about audience and we talked about the children in the rural areas, but different age groups require different things, and even students have different learning styles. So sometimes we have to develop the programs and use the programs depending on the students' learning styles, and even with the students, artistic students or student with learning disabilities, you have to actually build the programs to cover their needs as well. And then does the teacher or the school or organization already know what type of curriculum they would like to cover, such as drone technology, such as building, flight operations, safety? Do they already know what they want to cover? And then who's going to teach it? Do we have actual expertise of a teacher who has drone understanding, or do we have a teacher that just knows math and science, and we have to teach them the rules and regulations and the safety of the FAA before we give them a drone program and they go fly drones out, just flying drones out. And then we want to make sure too that we know the type of equipment that we want to use. What type of equipment are we looking at? Are we looking at small drones, big drones? Are we looking at building the drones, or are we just looking at introducing the students to the drones as well?
Well, that is an awesome checklist. If y'all didn't write that down, you go back and watch this on replay because you can get a transcript off of YouTube, and now you've got your checklist. So there you go, LaQuata. And by the way, Connie Smith is out there, one of our former guests from gosh, she has her own company. I just talked about it the other day. TS Aerial Imaging, I think, and also Flying Lines. So, hey, Tani, and she says, thank you for addressing the void. You said something on Clubhouse that really resonated with me, LaQuata. I think it was like you're talking about when a parent calls you. You ask that parent, well, what does your son or daughter care about? And, when I think about STEAM and I think about art and why it's important to keep that A in STEAM as art, I think about that question because it may very well be, that child has a huge interest in photography, as an example, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a form of art. And then you can kind of, right, tailor
The
the
program.
teaching and the program to that interest to get them excited about it.
Exactly. So when we talk about parents, and I have them come up to me all the time. What can I get my child to start doing to get into this, or what I can get them to get into the industry? And I say, what do they like to do? Do they like to just play games, video games? And it's like, oh yeah, they stay on the video games. Okay, well you might want to look at drone racing because that's the hand-eye coordination that they already use that in gaming. They may want to get into drone soccer because it sounds like they're very competitive. So you pick out the topics and they say, oh, well, they like taking things apart and putting it back together. Oh, that's definitely building drones and understanding the engineering of drones and figuring out how drones actually work. Let's get them to actually building a drone and knowing how drones work.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you have different modalities and ways, and let's just call it events that you plug into. One of them is drone shows. So tell us about this idea of a drone show and what that is.
So a drone show is like I got this word from Scott Burrell, and it's called edutainment. It's like education and entertainment. So with the drone shows, it gets the students hype. I get them hype. I tell them what drones are, how drones are used. I tell them about the different careers that are available, and that's the beginning of all the drone shows. But there are different levels to the drone shows. If the schools or organization want the students to be able to fly the micro drones, I let them do a quick little drone race through some obstacles that I give. And then, or we go outside. We can actually go outside and do a drone education demo with the bigger drones, with the Maverick, the Inspire, and the Phantom 4. I let the students get the controls, and then I also have on the screen, they can actually see what the drone is seeing. And a lot of them I show. I said, well, this is how a drone inspection of a roof would look like, and then I fly the drone around the school's roof, and they're looking at the screen, and they're getting that ooh and ah. So that's what we are looking for in the drone education shows. It's educating them about what drones are, how they're used, the safety rules and regulations, and the career opportunities that are available that most of them may not even know that were available.
Well, if y'all can't see the passion and excitement in this woman's face, you're watching a different show, and it's so obvious how much you love what you do. LaQuata, I was just thinking, you mentioned drone soccer, and seeing, like, if you can see me, you can be me, but seeing is also believing in general. Because I remember my son Reese was a referee when they had the games here, the state games for U.S. drone soccer, and he sat down on a chair with his, I think it was his Mavic, and he flew it indoors right over the drone soccer cage to film that for for the drone soccer guys to use later. But you had to see the little crowd of kids that gathered around him looking at his screen while he was flying that other drone over the drone soccer balls and the drone. and they were just so excited. I took a picture of it because it was like priceless, right? And so getting people excited by that hands on, I think is so key. Whether, watching someone do it is one thing, like your show, your
Mhm.
edutainment, to actually get their hands on a controller, amazing. So you talked about camps, and I want to digress for a second, talk about the camps, because some great questions in Clubhouse about this. You don't put on your own camps per se, but you're available to plug into anybody's camp. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I like to plug into others' camps because they already have the children.
Yeah.
In a lot of camps are looking for activities. They're looking for things for the children to do. So I plug into those camps and I say, hey, would you like me to bring drones to your camp? And then some of them come to me and say, can you bring drones to our camp? I definitely can. What are you looking for your students to do in the camp? We go back to those series of questions and asking them what they want to do. So then I can identify what to bring to the summer camps. For example, our Drone Legends by Scott Burrell. That curriculum, he's put time and effort into that curriculum, and I go and I put that into camps, and that program allows me to do various different things, and then they can actually get the hands-on experience like they are actually working with a drone company, because they get to do shark watches, they get to do missions for fighting fires. They get to do challenges where they're looking inspecting houses as well. So that's one of the things that I bring into to the drone camps. They get a flight training, so they get to learn how to control the drones and how to maneuver around certain obstacles as well. And then after Drone Legends, we may want to get into mapping, and I may use she maps for our mapping curriculum to go into schools and do drone education as well. And then we would go. I use another curriculum called drone cadets as well. Drone cadets has series of missions and challenges where the students actually get to run through different obstacles. You give them that introduction. And my friend Tony, he has a drone a pen a drone safety bear called Panda, and he's actually shows the panda, and he's talking about safety. So I could use that to talk about safety and walk them through drone safety as well. Yes, my guy Tony Reed is definitely a cool guy. That's my
I love
guy.
Tony. Tony was on this show. Tony was on this show last summer, LaQuata. In fact, it might have been this very month a year ago, talking about drone cadets. If I recall correctly, he was in his car. Like he was, I think he was in his car, and
That's
I think Henze Gustav might have been in the show with him last year. Who does their kind of metaverse stuff, and
yeah.
they've done some wild. They're doing drone shows now, light shows now.
Man, they have a whole lot more energy than I do. So if it's a drone show that people really want entertainment, I'm calling Tony and I'm calling Henze, because those guys will come out and really entertain the children and get them wild and get them excited. I'm trying to get the drone light show down to the south sometime early next year as well. They So the curriculums are out there that are allowing us now the opportunity to go out to the schools and go out to do the summer camps, after school programs, and even organizations like the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and Boys and Girls Club, and even fraternities and sororities. They've had us out to do pop-up shows and pop-up education shows as well with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, drone delivery beers for the
Yes.
fraternity. I would have loved that. But no, seriously, K Cruz has preempted us all and said, "Where do I donate?" We were going to talk about that because you got some campaigns going on. So let's talk about your ongoing campaign called "100 Drones for 100 Teachers."
100 drones for 100 teachers is to get drones to our teachers who can't afford to purchase drones and purchase curriculums. I actually just got a donation of parrot drones in
Wow.
this week. week. And I'm looking to get those out with a copy of my droneology book and some assessments. And that gives them the introduction to drones. And then we could branch the schools into bigger curriculums at a later date. So we take those and we take that and we gift it to a teacher who shows interest in wanting to bring drones to their classroom or bring drones to their school, but just don't have the funding to do that. So 100 drones for 100 teachers. It can be found on our website as well, steam2drones.com. And we are looking to do a bigger campaign for the spring. I'm looking to do more donations for the fall and then do the campaign bigger of the giveaway for the spring.
So just to back this up and be crystal clear, you actually accept, no kidding, donations of actual drones from people. That's one example, because you said
Hmm.
somebody gave you parrots. You also accept donations of money as
Yes.
well, so that you can purchase your own.
Yes.
Okay, and you can do both of those through your website.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Let's talk a little bit about the drones. Now, you mentioned Parrot. That's a donation that you received. But there are certain drones that are better for teaching certain groups than others, and certain, I guess, subjects, if you will. Uh,
Yes.
can you walk us through the kind of your go-tos for some of these different, different groups and different topics? Like if you're teaching really little kids and just basics. What's your go-to drone for that?
Basics, little kids, telos. They hover, they're more controllable. They're the prop guards, they're durable. I've taken them and vetted them through kindergartners, just letting them fly them. They've hit the wall and slide down. Um, the most I've had to repair with telos is if the students hold them in their hands and don't let them go and the motors stop working, and that doesn't have happen often. So telos are my go-to for my elementaries. If I'm looking at programming, Code drones are definitely drones for programming. They don't have a camera on them, so I use them basically for basic flight operation, of just teaching your pitch forward, pitch backwards, throttle up and down, type features, and then programming, teaching them in Python, JavaScript, any of those programming block code, just block coding. We would use those for that. Circuit Scribe was always my go-to for teaching electrical and computer engineering through drones because they were buildable. They have been hard to get in the market lately. I've been talking with the actual founder of the Circuit Scribe drone, trying to figure out ways that we could get those drones back in reproduction, because those are good drones to teach electrical and circuits, how they actually work. So those circuits are drawn on, and they can test them with multimeters as well. So those drones are my go-to for building drones as well.
Okay, and the first company was Co-Drone, CO, like Colorado
Mm-hmm.
drone. Okay, got it. I know it's not Colorado, but that's the acronym for the state.
Accurate.
You got a couple comments from Desi Eckstein out here, a big woman in drones. She said, assessing the students' desired skills, great approach. And then she said, here she has a question. Do you use a tablet, phone, or controller with the Tello?
All right, I've used all three. And the tablet is a little bit more expensive for schools and teachers. And when using a big group, such as like 10 groups, tablets can be expensive. So I've gone into using the Android phones, which are the small track phones that you can get for about $30. And it's cheaper to get, and they work. And you can program them, and you can send the drone blocks program from the computer to the phone if you have Wi-Fi. And I also find them to be better with the Wi-Fi interference problem that we have with iPads. Now the controllers, there's the Sear controllers that go with the Tello, but I've had problems with the lagging in the Bluetooth with those controllers, so I got away from using those. And if a teacher or school wants to use a controller, I recommend them going to the Mini, which has the controller, stepping up just a step, but we would have to teach at a different level than teaching the Tellos inside a small room. We would actually need a gym or need to be outside with the minis.
You're doing so much, and you're also teaching, as you said, at the university. How do you find the time to do all these things? Like, in other words, are you focusing a lot of your STEAM through drones efforts in the summertime when the kids are out of school and you're not focused on your college courses? Or maybe during holiday breaks, how are you kind of juggling all of this?
And that's definitely it. Time management is important, and I tell people a lot of time, if I don't put it on my calendar, there's a 99.9% chance that I won't remember if it's not on my calendar. I even put call if my mama calls me and tells me to do something, I have to put that on my calendar so I will remember, or put it on my to-do list to remember what she told me to do. So everything goes on the calendar and my to-do list. But the camps are done during the summer when most schools have summer camps. After school programs, I may only do one or two a quarter to make sure that I don't wear myself out as well. And for drone education shows, I try to do those at least only about three a quarter as well, so that I don't wear myself out. So if I have three drone education shows, I may not do an after school program that quarter because I already have some commitments. So and if I have after school programs, and if the after school program is a week long after school program, I typically may not take anything else that quarter because now I got to focus on some other stuff as well. So I try not to wear myself out, and I've been I'll say blessed with some great partners in different areas, and learning different individuals that are interested in drone education and teaching children about drone education, such as Tony Reed, Henze, Sam Scully, Ashley Cooper, all of these individuals. So if I get an invite for all these different areas, I call them up. Hey, there's an invite in New York for this event at this time. Can you handle it? Can your team get to it? And if they can get to it, they get to it and handle it. So we don't really wear ourselves out, but we have a awesome team, awesome partnerships with individuals that will go out and do it. Like Scott Burrell called me last week, and
Yeah.
he had an event in North Carolina. I was in South Carolina. He's like, "Can you go to this event in North Carolina?" Sure, I'm right here. I got time. Drove up to the event that afternoon and covered that event for him. So I love my drone education community. They're so supportive, and we definitely look out and work well together and support each other in the different events. So that's how I get to all of them.
Wow, you guys have created your own drone education ecosystem. I love that. And you know what? Words of wisdom. I mean, people listening out there, this is not our leadership podcast. That's the full tilt. But you're getting a lot. LaQuata here is dropping a lot of leadership nuggets. I love your comment about I only do this much because I'm not going to wear myself out. uh that is so important, and to kind of draw some lines, because if you're worn out, you're not good to anybody. And
Yep.
just huge words of wisdom. So if you're not a teacher, I don't care what you are, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just listening to this, listen to what this woman has to say, because she is frankly quite brilliant. Kay Cruz, again, your work is well thought out. Thank you for being there. He's going to send you a drone.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
got a drone from the show. That's
Thank
so
you.
that's he's got to head out, but that's amazing. Thank you, Kay. Appreciate you, buddy. Kay was actually one of our scholars at our Law Tech Connect Energy edition this year, and I know you were a participant the last 2 years in our Law Tech Connect workshop. So very, very cool. All right. So we're about 10 minutes out. Still lots more to cover. I want to make sure we cover everything that you want to talk about. So let's talk about kind of what you have coming up, because you've done so much. What's on the horizon for Steam Through Drones?
One of the main things I want to focus on Steam Through Drones is being able to reach more students, being able to reach more teachers. So, from professional development for teachers and even for teaching teachers how to put drones into their classroom. So, the 100 drones for 100 teachers is definitely a major campaign that we're focusing on, as well as building other partnerships with drone actual drone companies, and being able to get them to understand how important educating early and supporting educating our children early is for the longevity of their companies, because if we don't have anybody trained, they don't have anybody working. So getting them to understand that and getting their support and helping us to educate our students as well is where I'm focusing most of my time now. I'm definitely headed to commercial UAV, and then headed to some other conferences, waiting on confirmations from other conferences to present in the education arena. But as I said, trying to get out to more teachers, getting out to more administrators, letting them know about drones in education and how drones can work in education. So definitely going out to those groups and presenting as well is where I'm headed, spending a lot of marketing into presenting at different educational conferences.
That makes a lot of sense. And as I think about it, so many companies, they want to do something in the community. And a lot of them have their own internal efforts that, of course, that's great. It takes time away from I think their normal workforce to go out and do those events. If they could collaborate with you, even if they just send one person or give you their swag, their logo, you're like, hey, I'm here on behalf of company X to show you this is what the drone world can be. Man, that would be a great way to outsource it through an expert like you, LaQuata. I mean, that's actually a
Right.
brilliant model. You should. I'm excited to see what comes of that because and frankly, if I was a company and I was listening right now and I had this heart for community engagement, I think I'd be picking up the phone and calling you and saying, how can we do something about this? Really cool. Andy Nemechek is out there saying, I'm interested in more information on my service disabled veteran business, working with veterans and their families. I'm a drone in agriculture, very informative. I'll be reaching out. Okay, so Andy is going to be reaching out. I guess he
Awesome.
works with a lot of disabled veterans, and I know you talked with Maggie about this. Maggie is working with autistic students. This idea of other abled students and enabling them. Certainly, I know your focus is on rural communities. I assume you take everyone as they come, whether they're other abled or not. If they're in that community.
Right, definitely. If we can support them, or fine. One thing about Steam Through Drones is my mission is to find resources or provide individuals with resources that want to learn about the drone industry. So when they come, I ask those questions, ask different questions, and then I can point them in the direction that they need to go in. Even with if I know that I don't specialize in learning disabilities, but I know others who do, and point them in those right directions and actually can work them through. And even with disabled vets, I know Sam Scully does a lot of work with vets and drones. So definitely reach out, Andy. We'll talk and see where I need to point you in the right direction of those individuals in the industry working in the field that you're working in.
That is so awesome. So let's, we're in August. We're already kind of in quarter three. As we think about this year, before we know it, we're going to blink. This whole big conference season will be over, and then we'll be looking at the holidays in 2024. As you look into the new year, what are some of your aspirations?
My aspirations is to be able to obtain funding to go out to schools and go out to organizations that I would not be able to reach based off of location or based off of funding.
That's excellent. And once again, we put your website up. I know Kay had asked for that. That is one way. How else can like people reach out to you, LaQuata?
I'm all over social media. And Steam Through Drones is on social media as well. And you can find me, Dr. LaQuata Sumter, on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So reach out. And you can email, you can send from my website. There's my phone number. You can give me a call, and we can find or help support you, or figure out how you can help support us.
That's perfect. I was just going to ask you the flip side of that, which you answered, which is if I was a teacher, if I was the Girl Scouts, if I was another organization that wanted to have you come to my camp or do something like this, same, they would just reach out to you directly.
Yep, just reach out, and we there's a contact form on the website. Fill out the contact form. We will reach out, find out what dates, what event, or what activity you would like for us to participate in, and we'll come on out or get somebody out there.
I know you're going to be at Commercial UAV, but between now and the end of the year, like what kind of events do you have going on in the schools or, with other organizations through the end of this year?
Well, I'll make this announcement. I have a keynote for for an event on STEM Day for November 8th, for K through 5. So when the ink settles on that paper, I'll be sure to put up that announcement on where it's going to be and how we're going to support STEM and STEAM Day for November 8th, 2023.
Okay, write that down, everybody. So I didn't even know there was a STEM or STEAM day like on
Yep,
November 8th.
November
So
8th.
you heard it here, everybody. And Laquata, every year the FAA does some kind of a safety week or safety day. I haven't heard if they're going to have something this fall. I think they had one earlier, like in June or something.
What
Um,
Yeah, what they've been doing now is they've been breaking it up into droning on events in different regions. So
yeah.
I've been participating in some of those in the different regions, done a couple of presentations at those two as well.
Okay, got it. Got it. Very good. Very good. So, all right, big announcement November 8th. Check it out. Make sure you're following LaQuata. If you're not yet, you should be now. And what else, LaQuata, as we kind of round out the show? We got about 3 minutes left, roughly. How do you want to conclude? What do you want to share with people before we close out?
Well, I want to make sure that that others know that educating early is definitely important. Oh, let me give a shout out real quick before we end. Latoya Den is actually my first cousin. Jeremiah is her son. Hi, nephew. And he's been getting into. I've had him flying the telos a couple of times. His first drone, he lost it in a tree. We gotta give him a little
Hey,
bit
it
more.
happens.
We get them a little bit more education in it. But I definitely want companies and organizations to know the importance of educating children early in the industry, getting them interested in what they would like to do or what they would like to be in growing up. And then I would like to also talk about not stereotyping and telling girls that they can't do STEM and STEAM because they can. We definitely can be engineers. We can be pilots. We can be mechanics. We can be those things. We can be programmers. So, encouraging young girls and encouraging students in rural areas that the that area where they are is not the limit, because I've definitely come out of a small rural area, mother with just a high school diploma, and my father not even finishing middle school. So, and I have a doctorate degree. I said that I have a degree for every person in my immediate family. So you are able to progress. You are able to be who you think or want to be. It's just a matter of putting in the work, put in the time, and speak to those who've already done what you're doing.
And not to genderify things, but I'm throwing out the challenge here to OEMs. I want to see that pink drone. The minute somebody makes a pink
Oh,
drone,
I'm buying.
I'm buying it.
I'm
No,
buying
that's
it.
seriously like there.
Definitely.
Why is there none? They're blue. There's a cool orange one.
Mhm.
There's a red one, Fixar. Right? But I've yet to see the pink drone, and why should I
Yep.
have to buy a cover for it?
Cover.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, y'all make some pink drones, and there's going to be a whole slew of girls buying those. I'm just saying,
Because it's pink.
and boys too, and boys too. So throwing that out there. So a couple things real quick as we close out. We've got somebody out there. Thanks for the nuggets of wisdom. Somebody from San Diego. City of San Diego is getting ready to launch U.S. drone soccer. They're going to reach out to you soon. Felicity Strunts. I'm really excited to share this info with some educators here in the Nashville area. Thank you. Oh, and someone suggests rose gold. Hey, I'm all over
Oh,
that. My MacBook is rose gold. My phone, you can't see it with the lighting. My phone is pink. My headphones are pink. My Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And this is
absolutely.
before the Barbie movie, just for the record, okay? So anyway, very good. Well, everybody, we are at time. So LaQuata, any last comments?
That's all. That's all I have.
All right. Well, I'm so excited to see you next week in Las Vegas in person again. Everybody, if you haven't signed up for my happy hour on Monday, LaQuata will be there. I will be there, 7 to 9 at Carnival Court. Hope to see you all there. Register, go to the front page of my website, P3 Tech Consulting. That's a wrap. We are out here.